Und damit willkommen zurück zu The Great Ace Attorney, The Adventure Chronicles. So wie es aussieht, sind wir ja wirklich im Endspurt, muss man sagen. Dementsprechend then do you admit the charge that in order to protect shows the state's secret and shut in awful dealings with the witness, you are mad if you let the secret information out into the public domain. You will make being an enemy of the entire British government immediate. Wer will der das wissen? Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland Yard officer, leaked confidential case details to our witness, that you continue to lie to the court, and all because by fear the means for you determined to duty will be fair means or foul. I'm prepared to my to don't dare you will stop nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I make an enemy of. My lord, if you please, the court must hear the sounds made by that music box. Come on, for Pete's sake, stop them.
Objection!
Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor, I'm not Scotland Yard puppet. In the courtroom, my duty is to the law, so let me propose to toast to uncovering the truth by fair means or foul. Very well, the defense stands here and that of the prosecution has been made clearly, I feel. Therefore, in according with the defense request, the court will now listen to as the music box is set in operation once more. This time with the second disc is placed and both of the discs playing simultaneously. Dann hören wir uns das doch mal an, würde ich mal behaupten. Alright, I admit whatever you want, but before the Plummet expand. Was ist jetzt los? Let me ask you again, Inspector Gregson. Did you or did you not strike a deal with the witness next to you in the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon? Specifically, did you furnish the witness with the confidential case details in exchange for this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of the peephole in the porn broker's storeroom door, Inspector? I did. Stop. What are you doing, man? It's all exactly like the young Eastern lawyer said. When the trial resumed after the regrets and we were stood here in the stand together, that's when he approached me with the deal. Shut up, you imbecile. Shut up. You there, you're the detective who turned up the property of the other day, aren't you? I may have something you're looking for, Inspector, with me. this very important man. Somehow about the trade, I suggest you accept more information that may contain even the individuals uncomfortable will soon become very public indeed. I could let that information become public, not under any circumstance. So I accept the man's proposal and told him details about the case that showed but him that clear. The people in the storeroom door and the blood stains on the overcoat. By giving false testimony, his witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that, yet you will still relate those details to facilitate the witnesses for jury. I did, but then it turned out the people had only been made that night after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, if I'm perfectly honest. Well, Mr. Graydon, what do you have to say yourself? There's nothing and no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape convictions of a very serious crime. Namely, this. You are the third intruder who broke into the property on the night in question. And you perpetrated the murder of the proprietor, Mr. Pop Windybank. Yo. Traitor. Und dann nimmt dabei bitte jemand was. I leave. Restrain that man at once. Junge! Das war doch gleich eigentlich, that's it then. It's all over. I despise that my life growing up, those slums are places I was crossed from birth, born into poverty of the son of penniless artisan. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day long. What little money they had has never spent on me. So I set about studying to better myself to one day escape from that hellhole. And you eventually became a communications officer. I admire your determinations, but then you decided to try to sell government secrets. Why? Isn't it obviously because I wanted money? Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life in the slums wake me in the small hours. I wanted to drown them out with more money than anyone who lived in that scholar called Mensch. Then one day I meet him. Mr. McGilded. Yeah, fear with a rare talent. So you are. I've money to throw your way if you're interested. All you need to is go along with my little plan now. I was to steal the ministerial telegraphic message logs and Gilded would buy them for a handsome sum. I was responsible for the inspections of the ministerium communications office. It was a simple enough task. The lure of the devil officers, how easy it is to succumb. But you must surely have realized the seriousness of the crime you have committing, and for the reason I took great legends to assume that my actions were untraceable. By using the music box, my father was brickmaker, thought my mother caressed him when I was still a child. Mr. mentioned Milverton. That's right, he was very skilled with his hands. He'd once been a music box maker, apparently. I imagine his skills would be sufficient to create a machine that could generate Morse code. I sold out my father again to employ the service. This was the first time I'd seen him since I left the slums 10 years earlier. Look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you've become. He was a different man to the one in my memory. A thin, frail old man, but poverty had never broken him, never corrupted him like it had me. I was sure that he wouldn't help me if I told him the real reason, so made up a story. I gave some work for you, father. I need some music box disc made. Music box disc, A musician friend of mine has written some music they wants to sell the public. I have brought this house with there are two actually. I'd be delighted, son. It's been 20 years since I'd any work like this road. Fetch my tools, won't you? There are in the loft. That's how I had him make the two discs. They are splitting the information in two. You were taking considerable precautions indeed. It was to protect myself as much as anything. It said I could deal with McGilded in two separate transactions. The first involved the first of the two discs and music box for playing them. So I changed them with McGilded for 10 Guinness, then I recaptured of the second disc. They would pay 1,000 Guinness. So what happened on his omnibus 2 months ago was the second part of the deal, the changing of the second disc. Yes, I told the man information that way a number of times already, but it seems he became reluctant to part with his money. But that it doesn't quite make sense, Graydon. For wait, was it said on the omnibus 2 months ago? Your father, Mr. Milton, was the one dealing with McGilded and not yourself. When I received the 1,000 Guinness after my first complicated dealing with McGilded, I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles. But my father realized that something was amiss. In time he worked out that I must be involved in something dubious. And when he did, he said to me, next time there's an exchange, you let your old man to it understand. Otherwise I won't take your money anymore. That was my father then. I was dealing with some house. I climbed into the omnibus, hand over the second disc and take money from this from Mikkel. That's it. He had no idea what was actually on the disc I'd asked him to make. He never knew. Just like I'll never know why everything went to so horrible wrong that tonight. All I knew now is that disc was taken from him and he never returned home. It was only then that I found out what a monster McGill really was. So after 10 years of not once uttering it, I swore on my father's name. To exact revenge. Revenge? As anyone with even the most remote knowledge of the man will no doubt to be able immense. McGill brought all his wealth and influence to bear in the most describable of ways to crush any samples of justice in his trial. The crime sense was tempered with evidence was fixed and witnesses were provided. The trial 2 months ago was a farce from start to finish. My feet had barely to touch British soil back then, and I walked into that nest completely unaware of the sister background to it all. I made plenty of money out of my dealings with McGill by, so spared nothing in my arrangements 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. If willing to pay the price, there are people in this city willing to do anything you ask. McGill himself had showed me that. Are you saying that? I think you have the picture now. After he advised everything to this power in this courtroom to ensure the walk free, and I took matters into my own hands, delivered the justice monster desired. The tragic incidents following the trial here in 2 months ago. He was planned and executed by yours truly. I did it that day was caused by this man. Everything is ready, sir. Oh man. Es hätten so viele Leben verhindert, also Morde verhindert werden können. Muss man fairerweise mal sagen, aber naja. Those that policemen who came to tell McGill that could exterminate the omnibus again. That's right, an imposter. Heard by me. McGill that used his words to manipulate the trial. He painted the people as stole threats the omnibus with a manner of false evidence. Es wundert mich halt, dass dieses Gefährt halt hier wirklich reinpasst, muss man fairerweise sagen. Muss man mal fairerweise sagen. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was stolen since the paraffin, one of my shame police ushered killed it inside and set him on a way journey to hell. An eye for an eye, Auge Auge. That's how I arranged my father's death. A splendid shilling account indeed. But that wasn't in the end of for me. There was a loose end, you see. A loose end? Yes, I showed. I think it's obvious the second disc which my father had taken to change with McGilded. Ah yes, there was indeed no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it had been removed from the sense of the crime. When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I'd dealt with McGilded. This is the first of the 2 discs. In the music box you need to play them. Well, look at that now. What an ingenious little inventions to send as promised. 10 guineas for a year, young man. What is that? Windy-based pound packery? Aye, it's pound packery's ticket, so it is. Yeah, can use to read an article I've deployed for you. There's no need to give a name, just head over the ticket and tell the fiend the watchword. I've put a treble in a pound for you. I'll fetch a good 10 guineas if he has a lieutenant. If I never heard of pound packery being used in quite that way before. Have you not, Mr. Creighton? London's pound packeries are very useful places, you know. Each one is like extremely secret vault. So I knew if he'd had taken steps to hit the disc, it would be in the pound packery somewhere. And sent one the night he killed my father. He must have entrusted the ticket to anyone. Yes, to Gina. I remember now. Then when we first met at Windy Banks, that after 2 days ago, you need had a descriptions of Miss Lenstrade written down. Did you know who became looking? On the trial, that pickpocket's testimony was clearly peculiar. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately that she's another McGilded pawn, that he must have threatened her someone. I was fairly convinced it her had the ticket. Oh man, oh man, oh man. I had a strong suspicion the girl vote came out of the wood on the redaction's deadline. And he was absolutely right. And yes, sure enough she did. All I needed to do was wait until the girl went to Windy Banks to read them the articles, but unfortunately she read only McGilda's overcut and the one disc that was in its pocket. The all-important music box with the second disc inside was missing, because I had already been fortunate 2 days earlier. Weil das Wort habe ich total nicht mitbekommen. But I was unfair out of fact. It had no been could have unwavered nighttime excursions. Mean has your investigations. Beat a picket up the fact that McGilda was involved. Inspector, you recovered fast. My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible. So we started gathering the fellas, positions and examinations, whatever we could lay on your hands on. We had a full-scale investigations going on at the yard. We had to keep it as quiet as we could. Then when the inspector took the disc from me in the library that day, I became nervous. I was sure the music box and the second disc were still in the shop somewhere. So I knew that I was raced against time. I had to find those articles before the police did. That was the promise you to break into the place that same night. With the help with your friends, the Skulkin brothers. What happened that night in the Porn Bakery, I can only describe as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I had to look at the music box associated to McGilda on the shelves of fair-fed articles. The second disc was inside. I slipped into my pocket with a very deep sense of relief, but then something entirely unexpected happened. What are you doing in my shop? A gunshot rang out in the shop and I felt sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun up. The puddle fired your lamp. Yes, exactly, but unfortunately, I did advise you to bring Owen's gun with me that night just in case. Before I knew what was happening, I fired back. The men had already turned to flee. I had intent to fire in this direction, much less kill him, but unfortunately for both us, the bullet hit home, struck him in the middle of his back as he fled through the dorm door refuge. Sorry, Tail. It all took place in the blink of an eye. I don't even mention Nash and Ringo even realized what happened at first. I was terrified, so fled. And it's that whole story says everything that happened at Windy Banks on that wretched night. Earlier you called me make gilded a monster. A man who used his wealth influence to destroy the effects and escape justice for a crime of murder. What tragic Ironie, was für eine tragische Ironie. For what you have done is exactly the same. Ja, es wird gelaufen, muss man fairerweise sagen. I've become the very monster you saw and despised it so deeply in me gilded. Yes, I think I have. Well, this has been a long, exhausting trial. Das war ein sehr langes, extravagantes Trial. However, it would seem at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon? He's being restrained, my lord, and he's been escorted to the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Wendybeck and the stealing of government secret. Very good. And you, Inspector, regrettably you will have to face charge yourself. Yes, my lord, of course. Transpires that you will were complicated in helping a criminal escape justice. That remains whatever you not were doing in the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable. Kann das Wort nicht vorlesen. Dummheit. Now the defendant misleads on the strange yeah. It's time for final adjudications. This jury are ready for Mr. Foreman. Yes, sir. Carried up squadron standing by, sir. This is really it now. The last push to the final call. The finish whistle are ready to deliver the verdicts. Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You will now declare your final decisions of the court.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Haha, that is the stuff I am off to the look. Und da diesen Kommentar verabschiede ich mich aus diesem Part. Ja, ein Part gibt's noch, fairerweise. Und da werden wir dann die Nachbesprechung dann wahrscheinlich haben. Mal schauen, was danach passiert. Macht's gut und bis zum nächsten Mal. Auf Wiedersehen, meine Lieben.